Hi everyone, it's Doreen, the founder of Los Angeles Glow, aka LA Glow. This channel is dedicated to everything lashes and beauty. My goal is to help you succeed in the fast-growing lash world and to help you master your artistry and business. Today's video is on how to lash faster and how to improve your lashing techniques. First things first, I do want to talk to all of you guys about not feeling bad on how long it's taking you to lash. You know, everyone is on their own journey, and I'm seeing a lot of lash girls comparing themselves to other ones and feeling like there's an expectation of how long it should take them to lash and how fast they should get to that point of speeding through their lash set. But I want to tell you something, you could never really speed through your lash set. As we all know, lashes is a luxury service, and it's not something that you can just do, in a matter of half an hour or an hour. If you're giving someone a full set, even if you're incredibly experienced, it shouldn't take you less than an hour to an hour and a half. I've been doing lashes for 6 years, and it still takes me an hour and a half to do a full set, and 30 to an hour and 20 minutes for a fill, depending on how intensive the fill is. But I don't want you putting any pressure on how long it should take you. If you're here because you want to learn and you want to improve, then I'm all for it. But please be positive and kind with yourself, and just know that you're on your own journey and you're not competing with anyone except for, your old self from yesterday, your yesterday self. So it's all about having a positive attitude and knowing that, practice makes perfect, research makes perfect, patience makes perfect. So I'm rooting for you. Let's get started on the tips. My first tip for you is to go back to the basics. If you're a beginner at lashing, or if you're someone who's been lashing for quite a while but you still want to improve on your speed, go back to your lash doll. Go back to the false strips. Do a full 10 sets of these falsies and you're going to see that your speed is going to improve. I know a lot of girls, when they first get their lash certificate, they want to start seeing clients right away, and I totally get it. You want to connect with clients, you want to build your business, you want to get out there, you want to start making money. I'm all for it. But if you're not going to do it right the first time around, it's going to be very difficult to gain those clients back. So my first tip for you is go back to the basics and practice on your doll, on your false lash strips for 10 rounds. I want you to do 10 full sets on the doll before you move on to practicing on friends and family. And then what I would say to you, when you're done with the doll, go and practice on friends and family for at least 10 sets. Please take my word for it. I've seen it with myself. I've seen it with students. 10 sets will improve your speed. It might improve it by a little bit, but it's going to improve it. And so the more lash sets you do and the more practice you get with time, the faster you will get. So, don't be afraid to go back to the basics and just give yourself time to practice. Put on good music, take it as a therapeutic thing. I'm sure you love to lash if that's, what you got into, and just do it. Just practice. As they say, practice makes perfect. Tip number 2 is having everything ready and organized. If your station is not organized, if your station is kind of all over the place, messy, then you're gonna take longer to lash, because first of all, every client requires something else. Some people want a lash bath, some people need a primer, some people don't need a primer, some people need a particular, sensitive adhesive, some people don't. Everybody has a different lash tray. So you really have to figure out what your lash station should look like in order to absolutely maximize your time. I have my storage units, and then when I work, I take whatever I need from the storage units for my particular client and I put it on like a little side table. That particular side table it's literally called a side table, is on my side 24/7 while I work. And so when I need something, whatever it may be, even if it's just a fan because my client's lashes are burning for some sort of reason, the fan is right there for me. I don't have to go sifting through my stuff in order to find it. If you have to go sifting through your stuff while you're lashing your client, instead of finishing your set, for after an hour and a half, you're gonna finish it after 2 hours, because all those little times throughout the set that you've gone to sift through things can really add up. So make sure that your lash station is completely organized. Make sure that you have everything that you need right next to you and not just in storage. And if you need any inspiration on, how to set up your lash room, then definitely let me know. I will make a video. I am planning on making a video about it. But if not, for now, there's plenty of other YouTube videos for you out there to get a little bit of inspiration. Tip number 3, do not talk to your client. Guys, I know that a lot of you want to talk to your client because you want to connect with your client. Maybe your client is your friend, whatever it may be. I personally think, and I've seen it, with myself, with my students, with other lash techs that I know, it really influences your speed. And it's kind of like a subconscious thing. You don't really realize it, but it will help your speed, your lashing speed, get a lot better when you're just concentrated on lashing. If you're also concentrated on answering your client or engaging them in conversation, like asking them certain things and being talkative, then your mind and your focus is not solely on one particular thing. You're essentially multitasking. And that's kind of where the problem comes in. I've noticed it, please take my word for it, that when you just put on nice music, whatever music you and your client want, and you just focus on lashing, your speed will start to increase over time, and it's gonna allow you to really get through your lash set without any problems. So please do not talk to your clients. It also makes their lashes move and their eyes move, and it allows for more, it makes more room for error, which you don't want. So try to keep it quiet and a calm and relaxed environment, and try focusing just on their lashes. Tip number 4. This one is a little bit weird, but I will definitely explain to you what I mean. This tip essentially is, do not focus on one particular stubborn lash. What I mean is that when you're lashing, whether you're a beginner or not, there's particular lashes that are super stubborn. And I've seen that especially with new lash technicians, they won't let go of that lash until they get that particular false lash on it. And I think that that's a big mistake, because you're really wasting a lot of time. What I've noticed, and one thing I always teach, is if something is being stubborn, if a particular area of the eye or if a particular lash is being stubborn, just move on and then come back to it later. You're gonna see that as you start filling other lashes that are like around that area, but not that particular area, or not that particular lash, you're gonna see that over time, that particular lash that was super stubborn before, all of a sudden it's like peeking at you, and it's like, here, I'm ready, lash me. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it happens, and it happens all the time. Something I would recommend as a little tip to go with this technique is to really brush through your lashes in between, like as you're working, because if you're just like lashing and lashing and lashing and not brushing through, you're not allowing the lashes to kind of like find new ways. You're kind of like letting them get like on top of each other, stacked on top of each other, and so those particular stubborn lashes may not come out. But if you're brushing through, that particular stubborn lash will come out, and you will eventually be able to lash it. But bottom line is, do not get caught up on a particular lash that's being stubborn. If you tried once, max twice, and it's being stubborn for whatever reason, whether it's isolation is difficult in that area, it's hard to see, or for some reason the lash is just not sticking, move on and then come back to it later on, and I promise it'll work out. Don't waste your time on a stubborn lash. Tip number 5. This tip is, it's kind of like common sense, but I feel like a lot of people, don't take it seriously. Work with good quality lashes. There's so many brands out there nowadays, and obviously everybody claims that they're the best and they have the best quality, but really as the artist, it's your job to do your research and to really practice using all these different brands, to experiment and to see what brand works best for you. I've used so many different brands, and it could be the exact same length, curl, thickness, but certain lashes are a lot easier to pick up and apply versus others. So, really do your research. If you want me to do product favorites, I definitely will, but don't just go on Amazon or wherever and get the most, popular or cheapest lash tray. Get good quality stuff. And, having said that, I don't want to mention names, but there's one particular really popular brand that I personally did not vibe with when I was a beginner at lashing. I, used this brand because, I went and I purchased all this expensive stuff. I did a bulk purchase from their website thinking, oh my God, they're such a big brand. And when I got their lashes, I'm like, I really don't like these lashes. They're not easy to work with. So find brands that are easy to work with, that are easy to pick up, easy to place. And one thing that I would really like to give you as a tip is to try working with flat lashes. If you're struggling with your speed and how long it takes you in general to do a set or a fill, instead of using a classic, 0.12, 0.15, 0.18 lash, try using a flat lash. They come in different diameters. My personal favorite is a 0.15 or 0.20. Flat lashes are a whole new thing. Well, they're not new, they've been around for a while, but flat lashes are a whole different topic, which I will do a video on. But basically, they adhere a lot faster to the natural lash. It's like they have like a sisterly bond with the natural lashes. They just grip on well, they wanna be together. So when you're placing it, it's so much easier than like your classic lashes. Your classic lashes that are not flat, that don't have a flat base, they're a lot more difficult to place on the natural lash. And so your speed time is definitely, going to increase as opposed to decrease if it's taking you a long time to place the lashes on top of the natural lashes. Tip number 6 is to have a few tweezers on hand as opposed to just one pair of tweezers. Or what you could do is you could purchase a rapid adhesive eliminator. So basically when you are new to lashing, but also just in general, even if you are experienced, but it is more frequent when you're new to lashing, your tweezers can get really caught up in lash adhesive because you're still working on your pickup and your placement and your dipping. So it takes a lot of time, to get adjusted to that. But in the meantime, you've probably experienced this already. It takes such a long time to try to clean your tweezers, and you don't want to be sitting there for minutes on end trying to clean your tweezers before you can move on with your lashing. So either have another pair of tweezers on hand, or what I actually like more, because it's just more, cost efficient, is to have a lash adhesive eliminator. And what that is it's really like a solution that's inside a glass container. It's about like this big. There's like a little foamy ball inside of there, inside of the solution. And whenever you get lash adhesive on your tweezers, what you do is you just take your tweezers, you dip them into this container, you stab that foam ball a few times, and then literally within seconds, your tweezers are going to be adhesive free, which really allows you to go back to working without having to take up so much time. Because if you're taking such a long time to clean your tweezers as your client is laying there, instead of having your set be done in an X amount of time, it's going to be at least 5 to 10 minutes longer. Last but not least, the most important tip, if you ask me, is tip number 7. Tip number 7 is to work alternatively when you're lashing. What that means is do not lash one eye fully before you move on to the next. There's a few reasons for that. Number one, obviously what this video is all about, is it really influences your speed. I promise you, take it from me, try it, and you're gonna see when you work 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, kind of alternating between the eyes, your speed is just instantly faster. And it's kind of hard to explain why, but you're going to see as you start doing it that it does fasten up your speed. Another really important reason is if you are new to lashing and it is taking you a long time to lash, you don't want your client laying there for 4, 3.5, maybe 5 hours, because they're gonna get tired of it, they're gonna get tired of the service, and they're gonna be annoyed, which is definitely not what we want. So if you are working alternatively, after 2 hours, maybe you didn't lash every single lash under the sun or every single lash of theirs, but you still got a nice coverage from inner to outer corner on both eyes, and they could still get away with leaving your lash studio. But if you're doing just one eye and it took you like an hour and a half then how are you gonna move on to the next and finish that eye in the right amount of time? It's really important to work alternatively, because what happens is it helps your lash speed get a lot better, and it also allows you to say goodbye to your client after 2 to 3 hours with having a nice amount of coverage of lash extensions, as opposed to like a ton of lashes on one eye and barely any lashes on the other. Obviously, it's not ideal. You obviously want to aim to lash every single lash except for the baby lashes, but when you're new and when you're a beginner, that will have to do, and you know, this tip is really going to help you. Okay guys, those were all my tips and tricks on how to lash faster and how to improve your lash speed. If you have any questions, any concerns, any comments, please leave them down below in the comments. I will definitely be looking after every single one of them and answering you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you learned at least one new thing, because if you did, then I'd be very happy. And please don't forget to subscribe and share this video for anyone who will find it helpful. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.